Hello, I'm Lynne Hastings, the producer for TheaterWorks. Welcome to the Boxing Day edition of our Month of Joy. As a reminder to anyone joining us on Facebook, you can turn on closed captions under your profile settings. We are excited to have a member of the TheaterWorks family with us tonight. Our organization and our community would not be the same without her tireless efforts over the last several decades. We are happy to bring on Lynne Hastings.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, Lynne. How have you been recently?
Good. I'm a little over this whole 2020. I'm ready for it to end.
Ain't that the truth? I think everybody is. Well, I will turn it over to you, and I will click through your presentation as you go through.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Elena. Hello, everyone. Happy first day of Kwanzaa. I'm here to just share some poetry and some information for those of you who are not familiar with the celebration of Kwanzaa. If you saw Abner Genesee's presentation a few days ago, he shared with you a children's book that covered the principles of Kwanzaa. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to talk a little bit about Kwanzaa and share some poetry celebrating the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And Elena, you can move to the next slide. Now, the name Kwanzaa comes from the Swahili phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which translates to first fruits. And the holiday is based on traditional African harvest festivals. Kwanzaa was created by Maulana Karenga. He was a professor at Cal State University, Long Beach, and it was done in response to the Watts riots in LA in 1965. Now, although Kwanzaa is rooted in African culture, people from all racial and ethnic backgrounds are always welcome and encouraged to join in the celebration. Now, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa represent 7 values of African culture that help build and reinforce community among African Americans. Each day, a different principle is discussed. And each day, a candle is lit on the Kinara and 7 symbols are placed around the home. Now, I'll get into the 7 symbols just a little bit later on. So the first day of Kwanzaa, which just happens to be today, so I'm going to say to my friends out there, Happy Umoja. And Umoja means unity, and it is the first of the 7 principles. It serves as a call to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and the race. I'm going to read a poem by Sonia Dixon called Unite, My Brothers and Sisters. And hopefully you don't mind the dogs in the background. Here we are on distant shores, searching for loved ones lost, knowing their pain and suffering was an ocean of love lost. Can't you see the sun is shining? Bringing energies of love, all come, my people, unite together. Wake up, stand up, be the love for all. The bells are ringing. It is time to answer the call of one. Get together, my brothers and sisters. It's time. You must unite as one. Unite, unite. It's time. It's time. You must unite as one. Hold together, brothers and sisters. It's time to unite as one. And I just lost my slide, so bear with me. And so the second day is of Kwanzaa, which is the 2nd principle. And I'm going to bring that up as soon as my computer gets up. Gotta love live theater. Gotta love it. So the second day, and the 2nd principle is Kujichagulia, and that means self-determination. It's meant to give strength to the community by its members defining, naming, creating, and speaking for themselves. I'm going to read an excerpt from Nikki Giovanni's poem named Rosa Parks. It's a poem that celebrates Pullman porters coming together to ensure that the body of Emmett Till was transported to his home back in Chicago after he was brutally murdered while visiting family. This is about the moment Rosa Parks shouldered her cross, put her worldly goods aside, was willing to sacrifice her life so that young man in Money, Mississippi, who had been so well protected by the Pullman porters, would not have died in vain. When Mrs. Parks said no, a passionate movement was begun. No longer would there be a reliance on the law. There was a higher law. When Mrs. Parks brought that light of hers to expose the evil of the system, the sun came and rested on her shoulders, bringing the heat and light of truth. Others would follow Mrs. Parks. 4 young men in Greensboro, North Carolina would also say no. Great voices would be raised, singing the praises of God and exhorting us to forgive those who trespass against us. But it was the Pullman porters who safely got Emmett to his granduncle, and it was Mrs. Rosa Parks who could not stand that death. And in not being able to stand it, she sat back down. The third principle is Ujima, or collective work and responsibility. Ujima calls for the community to lean on one another and participate in collective problem solving. And I'm going to read a play called Brother, Sister, Siblings by Asamvoix. It was after I looked upon a forest that I now understand what a family is. Each tree drops a seed that every tree looks after until that seed becomes a tree, like its aunts and uncles. Brother and sister, words for sibling mean, as you will look after my child, I will look after yours, at least in our African tradition. One of the worst tricks of our adopted culture is that we think that in ancestry, we are brothers and sisters rather than in concern for descendants, we are brothers and sisters. Thus, I ask whether we have any brotherhoods or sisterhoods. What are the two? Will those who call me brother look after my child? Do you look after the child of others? If not, will you call another a sibling? I am grateful to the ancestors for allowing me the wisdom to put meaning behind my appellations. And I promise to my blood African siblings that I will, to my ability, be a brother to you all. And then we celebrate the fourth principle, Ujamaa, and that means cooperative economics. It focuses on building and maintaining African-American-owned businesses and profiting together. I'm going to read Ode to the Barbershop by Darren Case. Where therapy is cheap and sessions end only when the fade is clean. Church ain't always on Sunday. Your barber finna lay down a sermon of his own. Watch as we confess our sins and dap up afterwards. Coconut oil anointings, blade for this baptism. Each cut is a new Genesis. The fresh slap of rubbing alcohol on your hairline will test the grit in your grimace. Oh, how that first sting be a rite of passage. Oh, how this pain is evidence. Healing will start again. Nia, meaning purpose, comes next. This principle focuses on the development of the community under a united cause. The collective vocation must be to build and develop the community. I'm going to read a poem called 7 Principles, 7 Harvests. Umoja is oneness. Within self is the focus. Unity, 4 inseparables for wholeness. Kujikagulia is self-determination, based on the destiny of all creation. Gain understanding, maintain translation. Ujima is the communal family, collectively working, sharing responsibility to become the best ancestors, descendants we can be. Ujamaa is expressing fully we understand our destinies, requiring using resources cooperatively. Nia is knowing we are multi-purposed, to thrive from within, to bring life to the surface, provide understandings to the creator who births us. Kuumba is the creative process, who causes all things to exist, nutrition ourselves to get fundamental access. Imani is faith, who helps motion vibrate, persistence, then patience interrelates. Kwanzaa must be planted in the African utabazo, the basic context for being optimal, so harvests match our genetic potential. Kuumba, or creativity, is the sixth principle. Kuumba encourages everyone to give their best to their community, doing as much as they can, however they can, to leave it more beautiful and beneficial than it was before. For the consideration of poets by Haki Madahubuti is the next poem I will read. And thank you for your patience as I transition. Where is the poetry of resistance? The poetry of honorable defiance, unafraid of lies from career politicians and businessmen, not respectful of journalists who write, officials speak, void of educated thought without double search or subsurface questions that war talk demands. Where is the poetry of doubt and suspicion? Not in the service of the state, bishops, and priests, not in the service of beautiful people and late night promises, not in the service of influence, incompetence, and academic clown talk. And finally, we come to the seventh principle, Imani, or faith. Imani is a reminder to believe in the people, parents, teachers, and leaders. I'm going to read Kwanzaa by Alfonso Severals, and it provides a heartwarming message of faith and a sense of history that rings true to the message of Kwanzaa. It is the light of candle that shines brightly after a long journey of darkness that empowers my soul and proclaims my place in the culture of humanity. It is the sounds that vibrate across the earth with an echo that whisper and sings my song. It is the smell of nameless souls long gone that was cast out of the family of man whose scent dwells beneath my skin. It is the taste of the pain of yesterday with the flavor of hope for tomorrow, proclaiming, here I stand. It is the touching of my heart with your heart in celebration of the sacrifice of our ancestors. Thank you for letting me share these poems with you. And next, I just wanted to just talk a little bit about the symbols that are put up along with every day lighting the candle. So the 7 Kwanzaa symbols that are placed around the home represent African cultural values that contribute to community building and reinforcements. Now, during Kwanzaa, families gather around their display. They pray, pour libations, light the candles of the day, discuss what the principles of Kwanzaa mean to them, how they have demonstrated the principles throughout the year, and how to improve in the following year. Now, afterwards, there can be African drumming, dancing, storytelling, or craft work. In the past, when I have celebrated Kwanzaa with my family and friends, we would sit around and tell stories about all of our relationships and times we had spent together. And there's always a lot of laughing. There's always some tears as we remembered those who had gone before us. And sometimes friends are invited on the final night of Kwanzaa to share in the karamu, or feast. And that is the biggest day of the celebration. I encourage you, if you don't know where to celebrate Kwanzaa, there are several online Kwanzaa celebrations going on, including an email that goes out every day of Kwanzaa from My Black Colorado. Educate yourself, learn more about this wonderful, rich history of African culture. And next time we are all able to gather, I highly, highly recommend that you find a local Kwanzaa celebration and participate. I know I will. Thank you, everyone, for spending time with me tonight. I wish you the best. I hope to see you all in the future in person so that we can gather, embrace, and feel what it is to be human again. Happy New Year to you all. Happy 2020. Let's put the past behind us. Good night.
Thank you so much, Lynn. That was beautiful and informative and exactly what this month of joy is about. Thank you. So, and thank you all for joining us. There were some technical issues tonight, and Lynn and I powered through. Thank you all for being with us. You can see my puppy in the background. She powered through with us, barking. Hopefully, none of you heard it. But join us again tomorrow, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, for another piece of toy theater as we come almost to the end of our month of joy. So thank you all and have a wonderful evening.